Создаем это.
Есть.
Мгм.
Ну, да, покажи. Что у нас здесь? А ты рад чего?
Ну, мазкали мы это там,
Да, спасибо.
А что я видел, то и поращу.
So welcome everyone who will be today with us online and who will be watching us after. Namaste. Welcome our master to our space, to our school. We are really welcome that we are international place. My name is Alina and I'm from Ukraine. Here is also my partner and co-owner of our school, Jurata. She is from Lithuania. So today we have international group, international people who are here or who will be watching us, and we want to welcome Ankit, our master with the online from the Nepal, from the land that is very important of feeling the energies and feeling the philosophy that we all are gathered today. So today we will start to have introduction in the world of our master, and we are welcome. We will be really happy to start and to see what we can go. I'm connecting the people. So today is an important day for us because we are starting. I want to tell everyone that our goal with the Ankit and with Jurate was start to talk about the knowledge that usually is not talked in the mass, is not talked about the online. It's very sacral. You are searching to your master, you are searching to your space, you are searching to the way to get this knowledge. For now, we have such a world which is so intense and which is going and moving so fast that people now, especially in our countries, in my country, in all Europe, everybody needs to understand how to face the situation that we're facing every day when we are waking up and when we're going to the social life. So we just want to start with these three important meetings to introduce you the philosophy that is living for I don't know how many years, and Kit will also tell us today, because today I'm also a student. Today I'm also a part of the group who wants to know more about what you're doing, how you're doing. The only thing I want to tell today that for us, this time and this meeting with you, it's a possibility to talk, possibility to know more. So we're really thankful that you are giving to us today such a kind of the possibility to be part of your knowledge, part of this evening with you. We will share with our people, with our students, with our friends, lots of news that we will present all together with Jurate and with Padma next month. I'm more than sure you will be very happy. But for now, I am giving you the world and just also having my time during this amazing evening to get more, to know more, to feel more. So I will just say a few words for the people, maybe who understand or Russian or the other language. Хочу сказать о том, что сегодня мы начинаем серию наших встреч с Падмой для того, чтобы мы могли узнать больше о том, что существует многими веками, что существует многими тысячелетиями. И очень часто мастеров и учителей их ищут по всему миру. Нам очень повезло сегодня с Юрата, что у нас есть такой потрясающий мастер и проводник, который сейчас находится в Непале и который готов открыто делиться вместе с нами, с нашими друзьями, с нашей школой и со всеми людьми, которые вообще посмотрят это видео, знаниями. И что эти знания доступны для всех. Мне бы очень хотелось, Юрата, чтобы ты включила микрофон по возможности и сказала, возможно, на литовском что-то для тех, кто будет смотреть потом только на твоем языке, и мы начнем наш прекрасный вечер.
So first of all, thank you so much, Alina. It's a pleasure to be invited to your amazing school.
Padma, just 1 minute. I wanted just because you don't understand the Russian and Ukrainian, I wanted Yura to say in Lithuanian, like for the Lithuanian people who can attract after. So for me, it's important. And after her, we will start this evening.
Okay, sure.
Just 2 moments.
Okay.
Kas lietuviškai, mes suprantam visas kalbas ir džiaugiuosi, kad mes visas kalbas suprantam, ypatingai meilės kalbą mes suprantam. Ir tikrai, Alina, šiandien graži diena mums yra kartu, kad tokią galimybę turim sujungti visus tiltus su visais žmonėmis ir sujungti visas širdis, kurie turi galimybę šiandien sudalyvauti. Tikiuosi, kad video įrašas bus irgi prieinamas mūsų draugams, mūsų mokyklom. Tai aš linkiu iš tikrųjų gero vakaro, atverkit širdis ir būkim kartu ir paklausykime mūsų draugų kitoje planetos pusėje. Gražaus vakaro.
So namaste.
Yeah,
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. It's such a huge honor. And Alina was saying something really important, that today's meeting is international, that we are gathering from different parts of the world, different nationalities and different languages, perhaps different approaches to life. But what's beautiful is that we're all gathering here to understand something really precious, that there is a common theme that is tying us together here. And that is something I always find fascinating, that the wisdom, the knowledge of the ancient ones, the sacred teachings of the great masters, no matter which part of the world they came from, but their knowledge, their wisdom can be used by many. And that's also a theme that I would like to touch upon today. So my name is Padma Vajra. I am from Nepal. I am a Tantric Buddhist yogi. So I'm initiated in the oldest Himalayan Buddhist lineage called Nyingma, Nyingma in English, which literally, it's a Tibetan word. It literally translates to the old translation school, meaning that in the 8th century CE, Common Era in Tibet, the Buddhist teachings were brought from ancient India and nearby regions where Buddhism was spread. And at that time, the tradition that came about in Tibet was later known as Nyingma. So we have this very special, very precious, unbroken lineage from guru to disciple and so on from 8th century until now in 2024. So it's a very powerful, very ancient lineage that has preserved the teachings of the Buddhas until now. And today's topic, I want to, of course, touch upon the very basics of what Buddhism is. I also want to share more about not just bookish knowledge, not just theoretical knowledge. I want to also share with the amazing people who have gathered here that what can they take from these teachings? How exactly these teachings of the Buddha can be applied in our day-to-day lives. Alina was mentioning something important, that we are living in a very interesting time where, of course, across the globe, there are different kinds of challenges, different kinds of difficulties and sufferings that people are going through. And in this case, authentic spirituality, true wisdom is what can give us a true shelter, a true refuge. And how we can connect with that, I will try to explain. And before I do so, I would like to do a lineage prayer. So basically, when we give teachings, our style is a bit different. In the Buddhist tradition, when we give teachings, it has a sacred connection. So it's always very important for the teacher to connect to the lineage blessings, so that I take all the Buddhas, my own gurus, as a witness that I'm giving these teachings, I'm connecting with their sacred wisdom, and I'm trying to transmit that to people. So at this moment, if all of you can just stay relaxed, keep your body very relaxed and stable, and if it's possible, if you can join your palms together to bring these amazing wisdom beings in front of us for protection, for shelter for refuge. Maldens av lama Renbuje dagi jevor bemenden şula kacenjen begone cezonde gözonde generim zoldu zon. Woman journey and give it on the some song give no one runs and juggle and some danzeba zave shablo so Zange Jedon Zogi Chonama Chongje Bade Dame Gabziji Dange Jenzogi Bezonangi Gela Benje Zonge Bebejo Zange Jedon Zogi Chonama Nyongje Bade Dame Gabziji Danke Jenzo Gibe Zonangi Nula Benje Zange Remejo Zange Jedan Zogi Chonama Jonje Barde Dame Gabzeji Dange Jenzo Gibe Zonangi Nula Benje Zange Remejo. Now I would like to start the teaching. So the lines I just chanted, these are all in the Tibetan language, in the ancient Tibetan Buddhist language, which are all supplications to the root guru, taking refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. So today's class is quite important because it's, of course, not only my first time teaching for your amazing platform, but in a way, I'm representing the ancient wisdom traditions here. And Nepal and today's teaching have a very strong connection because I'm going to give some explanation on the basic teachings, the most fundamental teachings discovered by Siddhartha Gautama, otherwise known as the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, Gautama Buddha, etc. So this incredible being was born in Nepal. Now there are different dates. Some people suggest that he was born approximately 2,500 years ago. However, latest researchers have also suggested that he may have born 2,600 years ago at a place called Lumbini, which is now in modern day Nepal. So what is so special about this being and why are we going to discuss about him? So Siddhartha Gautama was born at a very interesting time in history, and he was a very fascinating person himself. So he was born as a prince in a very wealthy kingdom, and through his own predestined karma, you could say, he was destined to become one of the greatest meditation teachers, philosophers, wisdom beings. There are different categories, however, we can explain him. He was a sage, and he was like somebody who wanted to show people the true understanding of all phenomena as he understood. So uh, when he was still a prince, so he was living in absolute luxury. You can imagine he was living in this incredible palace with all kinds of amazing sense pleasures and the wealth and riches, everything that you can imagine, it was there with him. But despite all of that, he was still feeling a sense of dissatisfaction or rather incompleteness that, and he could also feel that this is all like a facade, that this is a way of hiding the truth, the ultimate truth. Then the legends say that one day, so his father, Siddhartha's father, he was restricting him to go outside the palace because his father did not really want his son to see the sufferings of the world. But one day, defying his father's orders, he did go outside the palace walls. And there, when he went out, he encountered what we call as the four sights, four types of visions. So he saw an old person he saw a sick person, a dead body, and finally a wandering spiritual seeker, like an ancient mystic, a wandering practitioner. So all of these encounters, they kind of shook his foundation. He shook his life, his whole existence, because it was the first time that he encountered reality as it is, not what it was being projected inside the palace walls with all the luxury, with all the beauty, which was definitely, it was all artificial. So, despite the fact that he was surrounded by all of that, deep inside he knew, he felt that this is not the truth. This is fabrication. So, after having these encounters, when he saw these four different types of sights, he really had a strong wish to uncover the ultimate nature of reality that is beneath all of human existence. And then this particular realization helped Siddhartha, the prince at that time, to make his ultimate decision to leave his palace behind in search of the truth. So this is a great revolutionary moment in this history. And at that time, just to give you a basic idea of the ancient landscape, now at that time, there were different types of spiritual seekers. Some people believed in a particular type of philosophy, spiritual ascetics believing in the existence of a creator God, or there were other spiritual seekers who were believing more in just meditation and not really believing in the creator God existing, so on and so forth. So, since that time, the whole landscape in nations which we now call as Nepal and India, it was always a place of deep inner introspection. We could see different types of traditions, different types of practitioners, sages, hermits, ascetics, who were trying to do different types of practices with the aim of really understanding the point of human existence. Now, their philosophy, their way of practice, it all varied because it depended on who they were, how they were perceiving the world around them. So basically, the Buddha's discovery of the solution of the problem that life, now there is a terminology in English which is called suffering. Um, when we talk about the Four Noble Truths, I will soon talk about that. So the first noble truth is the suffering of existence in a way. So the word suffering, sometimes it could be misunderstood because it's not exactly like um, the word in Pali is dukkha. Dukkha basically means dissatisfaction, something that is incomplete in a way, or it can also refer to sadness. So even in our modern day terminology, in Nepali language or Hindi language, for example, when someone is sad, we say that I am dukhi, that main dukhi hoon, that I am sad or I'm upset. So the first noble truth that Siddhartha Gautama he expounded when he became enlightened is that the general nature of samsara, which is basically cyclic existence, is disappointment in a way. It is dissatisfaction. What does that mean is that from birth to death, if we really analyze, now the way I teach, the way I give instructions is I really would like the participants who are here, who would also join later for the YouTube recordings, that what I'm sharing, try to contemplate that in your own life and analyze whether that's true. This is also the Buddha's teaching that Buddha did not give teachings for people to just blindly believe it. He was not a believer of that. Even the teachings he gave to people through his own experience, he asks us to analyze, to verify, to check, to really feel them. And if we feel that it's true, then we can apply it. So it's in a way, it's very scientific in nature, especially the Four Noble Truths. So the first noble truth, which you could say suffering or disappointment, dissatisfaction, there are different ways of understanding dukkha, is disappointment, that from birth to death there are different types of moments, like, but these moments are fleeting. These moments never last permanently. And then when we talk about suffering arises when we want a moment to last forever, when we try to hold on to that moment. Like, for example, if, you got an incredible, like there is an incredible moment of joy, and you want that moment of joy to always last. You want to cling on that. You want to grasp on that so intensely that you may not even realize that you're actually causing more suffering for yourself in that moment. Because, of course, all beings want happiness. We all desire happiness. But if we really analyze, when we start grasping, when we start, as I can say, fishing for happiness, then the ultimate result sometimes, or most often, can result in suffering, in disappointment, because we feel that we have to create the happiness. And especially in our modern context, especially in the Western context, we want to seek happiness generally from external things, from external events. So the Buddha, even 2,500 years ago, through his own analysis and his own deep contemplation and his own deep meditation, understood that this is a fundamental aspect of our human life. This dissatisfaction, that right from the moment when we are born till we die, all moments are impermanent. Like even the fact that we grow up and when we are born, and then as our time proceeds, as we age, as we grow, we are actually every single day we are getting closer to death. We are actually losing our time. So everything in our life is impermanent. Our breath is impermanent. Every moment is impermanent. So, in this case, when we start grasping excessively on a fleeting moment and we want it to last forever, we want it to be immortal, that's when the true suffering comes. Now, I would like you to analyze this point just for a moment. Just sit with me here and just really feel that when we start grasping, what happens? Does it really lead us to happiness, or does it lead us to disappointment and suffering? So, if you want, you can even close your eyes or feel it and just go deep inside of yourself and just analyze this point. So, ultimately, the first noble truth can also be explained in different ways. So, we talk about unhappiness, disappointment. And when we talk about happiness too, as I was saying, that typically our happiness is short lived, that whatever we enjoy, it actually never lasts or satisfies us, right? So I'm enjoying a cup of tea, it's delicious. I have a sip, and that moment is gone, right? Now, in order for me to keep enjoying that, I have to keep drinking. But there will also come a point where I may no longer be able to enjoy this tea, because if I really get fixated on the taste of that tea, that it's so delicious, it's so exotic, it's giving me so much happiness. Wow, it's ecstatic, it's incredible. But when I start drinking it more, maybe I have 5 cups or 6 cups or 10 cups. After that, that joyfulness, that happiness will turn into dissatisfaction too, because then I will have had enough of this tea. I don't want this anymore. This taste is too much for me, right? Done. I'm done. I want something else. Maybe I want coffee now, right? So, in this way, we can apply the Buddha's teachings by really analyzing every moment our habitual patterns. This is another important philosophy in Buddhism, that who we are, our karmic makeup, is basically based on our habitual patterns. Like our habits are what make us into who we are. Our likes, our dislikes, our strengths and weaknesses. And oftentimes, whether we realize it or not, we are basically just following our habits, you know. And oftentimes, we do that unconsciously. So when we talk about the source of suffering, our habits also create that. Our habits also lead us to dissatisfaction. Our habits lead us to the challenges that we face inside of us, and that also leads us to different ever repeating problems. That what is the worst ways that we deal with the ups and downs of life? Like when we are trying to find a solution to a problem that basically is, you could say it's difficult to fix. When we try to look for a solution, we end up creating more difficulties. Or in another example, if we are in a toxic relationship, for example, and the way we are acting inside that relationship, we perhaps might make it worse instead of ending it, instead of really finding the solution. So this is basically because of our habits. When we are in this loop of our habits, those habits with time create our reality, which is imputed. It's not the authentic reality, but it's the reality based on our own projections, our own habitual patterns. So, this is how we can relate with the truth of suffering in our day to day life. Now, if we look at what exactly is the cause of the suffering, now that is the second noble truth, the cause of the dissatisfaction, what leads us to it. So, when we talk about our unhappiness, the dissatisfactions of life, it does not just come out of nowhere. It is all created by causes and conditions. This is yet another very important fundamental philosophy of Buddhism. That in Buddhism, the Buddhist philosophy believes that things or phenomena do not exist independently. That, of course, also includes our experiences, right? They do not exist independently. Everything comes together with causes and conditions. For example, even this meeting, this profound gathering of these wonderful beings from all across the world, it's not happening out of nowhere, right? So many causes and conditions had to come together um, I think it was Alina who reached out to me on Instagram many months ago, and then us connecting and so on and so forth. And then all those moments leading to this particular point, so there was a cause, the cause that there needs to be a connection, there needs to be an introduction to some kind of ancient wisdom teachings, and the conditions for all of our times, all of our availability, our schedules, the interest, the people, everything coming together. So that's cause and condition. That's how even this meeting came into existence. So, if once again we do a contemplation, that if we really analyze deep inside, try to find if anything that you know or your own experiences, do they really exist independently, or does everything relate on cause and conditions? So again, we will contemplate for a few moments and really analyze. You could take any example in your life, which is closest to you, and just analyze that. Does it really exist independently? Or that experience was really created due to causes and conditions coming together. So, according to the Buddha, when we talk about these different causes and conditions, what lead to our unhappiness, what lead to our dissatisfaction. So, of course, we can think about external factors, of course, the type of society we live in, the type of country, city, environment. Of course, that's all important too. But we do not at the same time ignore the inner conditions. So in Buddhism, there's always a harmony between the internal and the external. That's extremely crucial. So even if we live in a particular place, but ultimately all the conditions of our problems, according to the Buddha, lie within, lie inside. So in this case, Buddha instructed us to really investigate our own mind, our own thought patterns, our thinking, our mindset, our consciousness. If we look inside of us, so the core idea in Buddhist philosophy is working and understanding our emotions, that our emotions are what, in fact, create our experiences. And we talk about all types of emotions, but mainly we have an understanding of disturbing emotions or afflicted emotions, which in Buddhist philosophy are also called as the five poisons. Why are they called poisons? Because they are destructive if we just wantonly follow them, if we do not um, create a mindful understanding of us and our surroundings. And if we just act impulsively based on those emotions, then it's really like drinking poison or offering poison to others. It is harmful for oneself and it's harmful for the others. Now, what are those five afflicted emotions? Number one is delusion or ignorance. Number two is anger. Number three is pride, neurotic pride. Number four is neurotic desire. And the last one is jealousy. Of course, there are different types of afflicted emotions, but it all boils down to these core five. Now, these are the five emotions, according to Buddhist philosophy or Buddhist psychology, in a way, that lead us to act impulsively. So ultimately, delusion or ignorance is the first, because ignorance is how all other difficult emotions, all other afflicted emotions arise. Now, ignorance or delusion could also be understood in different ways. There are different explanations, different levels of this ignorance. Now, on a more outer level, on a more external level, just to be able to relate with our own realities, right? How we can understand ignorance and how it works in our day-to-day life. So for example, if we see someone, we don't know this person, and we are just trying to judge them based on our own ideas, maybe they look a particular way, right? We just see them, while we're walking on the street, we just see them at a distance and they look different or they're behaving differently or there's something about them, you know, we're just making an assumption. We feel maybe this person is like that, maybe this person is like this, right? So that is ignorance in a way. It's a very simple example because I know that in our day-to-day society, this is quite common, especially in our social media age, not only on the streets. When we scroll our Instagram feed, we see different types of people, and we immediately start making our assumptions and making our judgments based on how they look, based on how they are, when we don't know anything about them. So that is basically ignorance, one type of ignorance or delusion, that we are making our own assumptions about someone or something. But is that really true? We are not sure about that. In this case, another teaching of Buddhist psychology comes in handy, which means that we are projecting our reality. So Buddha always said that our reality is like a dream in a way. What does he mean by that? Is we project. So just like when we are sleeping and we see dreams, we see different visions there, right? We can see beautiful dreams, we can see nightmares or neutral dreams or meaningless dreams. But when we are in that dream state, oftentimes we feel it's real. Sometimes even to the point that we wake up, even for several hours, we are still in that dream state, even if we are in the waking state. But the memories of that dream, the experiences of that dream are so vivid. They're so clear, it becomes so difficult for us to detach from it. And if we really investigate our waking state reality, according to Buddha, in Buddhist psychology, we will feel that we are projecting our reality. So our reality is not entirely true. Even in this gathering, we are so many people here. Um, we are meeting each other, we are talking to each other, but yet again, our reality is not singular. The way we are relating to each other, the way we are seeing each other, we may notice different things, right? We may notice different um, ideas as I speak or as we interact with each other. So once again, our realities are basically projections of our own mind. So then ignorance or delusion is the root cause of that. When we haven't really investigated the suchness, we haven't really analyzed the ultimate nature of phenomena, and we make our assumptions and we project our ideas, that is ignorance. Now, from that ignorance, other difficult emotions can also arise. For example, if we see something, an example that I often give to my students is that this is about jealousy. Of course, I'm skipping to jealousy after ignorance, but I think this can make more sense. Let's say someone, like a woman, sees another woman who is extremely beautiful, extremely attractive. And then by looking at that woman, woman number one, she starts feeling jealous that, oh, she is so pretty, she is so incredible. Why do I not look like that? Now, if I ask you, is that woman, woman number B, is she creating jealousy, or woman number one, woman number A, is creating jealousy? It's woman number one, A, right? Because she is the one who sees that in front of her, and she projects that reality that I am becoming jealous, or she is making me so jealous of herself. But if we really investigate this particular situation, there is no jealousy inherently happening because it is projection. Similarly, we can look at all other emotions as well. Anger, we can feel that something or someone is making us angry, and then we clench our fists and clench our teeth, and we're shaking, and so many things happen. We create so much energy in that particular moment. But if we really analyze, once again, Buddha's teaching is this: our ultimate nature of our mind, the ultimate nature of anger itself is like clear water in a lake. So when you go on a lake which is very clear, undisturbed, our original mind, our original wisdom mind is like that lake. Now, the moment, let's say you take a stone and you drop a stone in that lake, what happens? Ripples, waves come on that lake. The lake is no longer stable. It's no longer calm. It's disturbed a little bit. So anger has the same property as well. So in Buddhist wisdom, and especially Tantric Buddhist wisdom, when we work with anger, when we transmute anger and look at anger's own inherent wisdom nature, it's called mirror-like wisdom. And it relates with the water element. That's why I was giving this example. So similarly, all other emotions too, desire or pride, etc., they are the projections of our own deluded mind. And they're the true causes of dukkha, of dissatisfaction. Of course, we have external events happening in front of us. There's no doubts about that. We are not denying it, and we should not deny that. But ultimately, how we respond to those situations, which is, I think, what Alina was also saying in the beginning of this call, is that in the current scenario in the world, in the Western world, and all across the globe, we do not have the capacity to change the external reality to a larger extent. Yes, we can do something about it, but ultimately, we need to look at our own minds, how we handle those situations, how we examine our minds, how we navigate through those challenges without letting our afflicted emotions getting too disturbed. Then we can get closer to the truth. Then we can understand reality as the Buddha himself understood that, and how when we have a clarity that we no longer have a misconception of ourselves or the world that exists around us, then we can go beyond this cause of suffering. So basically, these are the two main points with which we can understand how. And firstly, dukkha and the cause of dukkha. Dukkha, once again, is suffering or dissatisfaction, and the cause of suffering is basically our own delusion, our own ignorance, our own anger, our own desire, pride, jealousy, so on and so forth. Now, after that, Buddha, of course, also explained the stopping of this suffering, that he also understood in his own meditation and his own practices that we don't have to put up with these difficult emotions, because if we can uproot, we can remove this cause, then the result will not arise. So, for example, if we want to sow, we want to create a farm, and we need to plant the seeds, right, in order to for the farm to grow, in order for the trees or whatever we are growing in that farmland to grow. But without that seed, the farm will never come into existence. So similarly, the Buddha also explained that if we can stop, if we can uproot the cause of these problems, then they won't arise in a way. So now he's not talking about escapism. Now, an important point I want to mention here is that I've seen in certain maybe Western understandings of Buddhist philosophy, I think it was Schopenhauer, if I'm not mistaken, he had discovered Buddhism back then, and he misunderstood Buddhism actually. So he thought that Buddhist teachings or Buddha is talking more about nihilism, about negation of the world, or he's not talking about happiness whatsoever, so on and so forth. But that's not the real thing. So the main point here to keep in mind is that Buddhist teachings, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist wisdom is not about escapism. It's not about nihilism. It's not a negative state of mind. On the contrary, it encourages us all individuals, no matter who we are, where we come from, to really investigate, to really analyze if we are suffering, what is the cause of this suffering? First, we have to understand that there is suffering, which is dissatisfaction, unhappiness, all these points that I explained. And after that, linking with that is the cause. What is the cause of that? Now, if we analyze correctly and if we understand that indeed, well, it looks like my mind, my own afflicted emotions are causing that, then afterwards we can understand what is this stopping? How can we stop these afflicted emotions? Or how can we transform these afflicted emotions? So at this stage, I would like us all to just take a few moments to absorb all the teachings I've just given, and we meditate for a few seconds, for a few moments before I continue. If you would like to have some tea or any drinks, you can do that first, and then we can proceed. Just for a few minutes. Because along with the intellectual understanding, the practical application is also very important. And I will do a guided meditation here. So whenever we are all ready, what I would like all of us to do is if we can sit, if you're sitting on a chair, we can just straighten our back. So the straight back is very important in meditation practices because basically our central channel or the circulation of the energies depend on our spine. And if we can keep it straight, then the circulation of the winds and the subtle energies in the body will be regulated. And then we will have more clarity and we will not feel drowsy or disturbed. That's the first point. Now, with your hands, you can just place your hands on your knees and you don't need to have a very stiff posture. So the important point to keep in mind is that your body, your posture should be neither too tight nor too relaxed, not like this or not like, no. You find your own balance. A relaxed middle way. And with that, if you want to close your eyes, that's fine too. But typically, we do not close our eyes in Buddhist meditation. So you can, the focus of your eyes, you can bring either to the tip of your nose, or you can just slightly look downwards. And after that, you can keep your mouth slightly open. So you basically inhale from your nose and exhale from your mouth. And it's not like pranayama, this meditation, not pranayama. So you're just breathing naturally, your natural breath. Allow that feeling, the natural breaths to come, and you observe that. This meditation is called shamatha, calm, abiding meditation. This is a meditation taught by the Buddha himself, and this is an antidote to the suffering, the dissatisfaction. How do we do that? When we stay relaxed in our body, in our breath, when we just watch our breath, we are also watching our mind. So, in this meditation practice, we are not trying to stop our thoughts, we are observing the thoughts. So, as we stay in the meditation, we let the thoughts to arise and go. It's like when you go to a movie theater, you're watching the movie, but you know it's a movie. You're aware that it's a movie. You're watching it, you're observing it. So your thoughts are also like that. So just watch whatever thoughts are coming, whatever sensations are coming. Don't chase after them. Don't block them either. Don't tell your mind, oh, no, 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 I don't need to think. I don't need to think. True meditation is not about stopping the thoughts, it's about really understanding how thoughts even arise and where do they go. So once you start observing this process, you will feel that your thoughts arise and they go back. They arise and go back to the surface. So let's just meditate and just observe our thoughts, our emotions without being judgmental. Keep your breathing natural, stable. Now, as you gently arise from this meditation, you can put your head back up. You can now look around, familiarize yourself with your surroundings again. You may sense peace, tranquility, a sense of relaxation, but it's not drowsiness, it's a state of alertness, awareness. So, this is basically just an introduction to one of the most fundamental Buddhist meditations called shamatha, calm abiding. And this is an antidote to our poisons, the internal poisons, the afflictions of our mind that basically our deluded mind creates. And how is it effective? By doing this meditation, which is intimately linked to the understanding of the Four Noble Truths, we are observing our mind that creates or that generates these difficult emotions, the afflicted emotions, the mind that attaches, that grasps to external phenomena, believing that only external phenomena is the cause of our suffering, the cause of our tensions, the cause of our problems. So, when the Buddha taught in the third noble truth that even though we have an understanding that there is a dissatisfaction, there is a dukkha, there is a suffering, and then the causes of suffering are linked with our own mind, our own state of mind, if I may say it, our own neurosis, our own habitual tendencies, our own karmic imprints, our own karmic predispositions. But there is good news after all. It all can be stopped. Why? Because if it's all depending on us, then we are also in command of changing this reality. This is where Buddhist philosophy is rather special, that especially in the fundamental aspects of Buddhist teachings, we do not rely on a creative force. Our mind itself is the creator. It's the creator of our happiness and is also the creator of our unhappiness. Now it's up to us to truly understand that. And if we truly understand that, then we are working with the noble truths. And then the truth of the path. So the Buddha also created a more systematic path, which is called as the Noble Eightfold Path. So basically, the Noble Eightfold Path connects with different types of ethical, philosophical teachings of how to conduct ourselves, the right type of speech, the right type of conduct, the right type of living, so on and so forth. But instead of giving a more philosophical explanation, I would like to give this teaching in a way that is relatable to us. Basically, when we talk about all phenomena coming together through causes and conditions, it also talks about another fundamental aspect of the Buddhist teaching, which is called dependent origination, meaning that all things come together through causes and conditions. They are linked, So that's why we can even see that even all of us are linked, all beings are linked together. Now, in the Mahayana path, which is another level of the Buddhist teaching, there's even a very in depth philosophy that all sentient beings are connected in the sense that all sentient beings have been our mothers and we have been their mothers. Because the way cyclic existence, the way samsara revolves, we have taken many lifetimes, we have taken many births, and not only in the form of a human, but different in different realms as well. So there is an interconnectedness. All phenomena, including all of us, are interconnected, are truly interconnected. So this leads to another key important, another key point of Buddha's teaching, which is cultivating compassion, cultivating compassion for oneself and for others. That we are not only thinking about ourselves and how I can benefit only myself, how I can just bring some temporary benefit, thinking it will last forever and create more suffering, create more dissatisfaction for ourselves. Instead, if we expand our consciousness, if we think that it's not only me, but just like me, there are other beings too who desire happiness, who do not want to suffer. So why should I only think about myself? Why should I only be concerned about only my happiness? How I can try to benefit other beings. So this is a key aspect of Buddhist teaching that in fact all the practices that we do, especially in the Mahayana path, which is where I'm initiated in, this is the fundamental aspect that every single act, every single meditation, every single teaching is done with the wish of benefiting beings, of thinking about beings. If we can do this activity physically, that's great as well. If we have this aspiration that through my meditation practice, may I cause immense benefit to all beings. If there are beings who are suffering, if there are beings who are sick, who are unhappy, may their unhappiness decrease right in this moment. May I be able to cause happiness for these beings. Through this, we leave self cherishing. That when we stop only thinking about myself, only oneself, that no, it's only me, only my happiness matters, and I don't care about the happiness of others. If we again truly investigate what is happening in our world right now, we will see again this is true that we are suffering. The global reality is at a stage because people have been concerned about only their own happiness. We forgot to live as a collective, to help each other, to support each other. Instead, we want to compete with each other. Or if we talk about a much larger perspective, the wars, we want to fight with each other, right? Because we always want to show our superiority, that we are better than others, others are inferior to us. So again, if we truly investigate this teaching of the Buddha too and apply that to our current understanding, we will find it's true that we are causing this suffering to oneself and to others by creating this divide, by creating this separation, by creating too much self cherishing. In fact, when we even see some people suffering, we might even think, they deserve it. Let them suffer. Who cares? I'm happy. As long as I'm happy, I don't care about anything else. This is a very narrow minded approach, a very narrow minded thinking. And according to Buddhist philosophy, this narrow mindedness is a cause of dissatisfaction, not only for others, but especially for us. So that's why the Buddha gave the outline of the Noble Eightfold Path, which is firstly the right view. When we talk about the view, it means understanding not only the philosophy, but understanding the truth as it is. It really is seeing the Four Noble Truths not just as some teaching given by an enlightened being, given by some kind of religious or spiritual head, but really analyzing, really checking the Four Noble Truths and really seeing are they true or not, which is something I was trying to also teach experientially. This becomes the first Noble Eightfold Path, to really believing this clear perception, whether these aspects are true or not. Then after that comes the right intention. So it involves cultivating the motivation to free ourselves and others from this suffering, which is the point I just had mentioned. Then how can we do that? We can do that by cultivating loving kindness, compassion. Of course, firstly, we need to be compassionate towards ourselves. We need to also acknowledge the difficulties and challenges that we have been going through. Applying love and compassion to oneself is very important. This is another important point that I wanted to mention, that we should not try to spiritually bypass, especially in the Buddhist tradition. It's very important that we also include ourselves when we talk about radiating this boundless love, radiating this boundless joy and compassion towards others. We need to include ourselves there too. Because even psychologically speaking, from the modern psychological understanding, if we don't have love for ourselves, and I'm not talking about this toxic type of self love that we're only concerned about our own happiness and excluding others, but on a more balanced level, that if we are not happy with ourselves, if we're not happy about ourselves, we will also not be able to create happiness for others. We will not be able to truly feel, truly generate this sense of compassion towards others. So, the right intention here involves developing thoughts of renunciation. Renouncing what? Renouncing afflicted emotions, renouncing negative thoughts towards ourselves and towards others, especially violence. To remove violence, to practice non-violence. And not only violence, when we talk about violence, is not just physical actions, not just through harming someone through our body, but also renouncing violence through our speech, through our intention, to not be harsh, not be um, harmful towards others in this way. Then, after that,
Ankit,
we
if
talk
it's
about,
possible, can I just add one thing here? When we're talking
yes,
about the violence, the one
mhm,
which is continuative of what you were telling before, first we have to feel by ourselves or love or joy or peace. Only after we can create it to the world. No other ways. If you don't believe, if you don't feel it from inside, you create like the miracle, you create the imagination. When we're talking about the violence, first of all, I also want to note that people don't notice how much violence they have towards themselves, especially
yeah,
in different types of the religions, like the Slavic religions, like our countries. We are always suffering. We're always not noticing how much violence we put to ourselves. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not doing enough. I'm not the best partner. I'm not the best worker. We are all the time giving the violence to ourselves. So this is something that I feel like very important to know to the people, to return back to themselves and to return to thank themselves to every day that they wake up, every step they make every day. If you already made something today, a smile, at least some of the project, some words to the people towards, just thank yourself, not to make more violence that you are not enough. Otherwise, this continuative step that you were telling from the beginning, like a path, create inside us these emotional feelings that we are, in any case, could not change in one moment or in one practice. So not talking about just the violence towards someone, but to return back also to the violence that we're given all days to ourselves. Every day, really, everybody knows this, but not everyone is making this. It's just 1 minute before you are going to sleep. Just remind yourself for what you are thankful to yourself today, to the world, to your family. It doesn't matter the relationship you have. It doesn't matter which feelings or the situation you have towards the people you're connected, to the partners, to the families, to the colleagues. It doesn't matter. Just be thankful that you made at least something today to this world, because this is this thing that people forget. They try to be good for someone. They try to love someone. They try to act towards someone. They try to create something good for someone, but not for themselves. In this meaning, by the energetic, you are not given enough the real energy of the purpose, what you have inside. So just don't be so much critical to yourself, because we are all here. I think the students, the teachers, it doesn't matter. This is the time for all of us to get the knowledge, first of all, how to, as I always telling, how to deal with ourselves, who we are, what we feel, as you were telling about. So just to put the note for the people that the violence to ourselves is the first, I think, wrong path that we can take as a decision by ourselves. No one is pushing us, and no one is telling us during the day that you are not enough. you're not beautiful enough, you're not good enough, you're not doing enough. You are already enough because you are here in this world. Your family, your father, your mother, the feminine and the man energy, they brought you to this life. So every day you're creating something, and it can be very changeful. So just think yourself even now that you are existing, and that I don't know, after this even evening or day, you will share something useful, first of all, to your family or friends or someone that you are connected for. Thank you. I'm turning off my sound.
Thank you so much for that important reflection, Alina. I think that's a very crucial point. And you're right that violence, of course, we can inflict onto others, but even the cause of that violence, another important point that I would like to reflect back here through your very powerful and important share is that why do we create violence to others? Where does that come from? Because we are being violent towards ourselves, firstly. And we are trying to project that onto others. So if I take the example of, let's say, the school shootings that happen in America, like people often wonder that where do these kids get such a idea? They're in school. How do they get motivated to take their guns and start shooting? Well, they're also being violent to themselves, as you said, because they feel that they're not enough. They feel that they're lacking something. They feel that something is terribly wrong with them, that this world is such an awful place to be at. And through that dissatisfaction, which is dukkha, again relates to the Buddha's first noble truth, is yet again the cause of the suffering, right? So when we have this dukkha, through that we feel that we need to inflict some harm onto someone else. We want to take that anger, we want to take that rage, that frustration out. But the cause first is inside. That none of those people, none of the people even causing the wars, especially the ones causing the wars, or any kind of individuals who harm others physically or who create violence, who inflict violence onto others, they are violent to themselves internally. So what you said is extremely important, from a psychological perspective, that if we are not happy with ourselves, if we feel that no, we are not enough, we always have to prove a point to someone else. And through that, we create so much tension, so much suffering. We are tense, we are worried, we always have this huge load on our shoulders. And who is putting that load on our shoulders? We are. We ourselves are doing that. No one else is doing it. So, as you said beautifully, if we try to accept ourselves, if we try to have gratitude, and this gratitude point links with yet another fundamental teaching in the Buddha's amazing ocean of wisdom, which is preciousness of human life, that we are grateful to be alive, as you said so beautifully, so touchingly, when we are grateful to be in this world, when we are aware that this is who we are. We can do amazing things in this world, and we can be perfect in our own way. We don't have to copy someone else, which again connects with the example I gave, that when we see, when that woman saw the other beautiful woman and she got jealous, it is not the woman who is making her jealous. She needs to also feel that I am fine on my own. I'm great on my own. I am who I am, and how I can do something good for myself and for others that can define my path. So, indeed, in the right intention, non-violence, ahimsa, that's the word in Buddhist terminology, ahimsa, non-violence towards ourselves, not having non-violent thoughts towards ourselves, then ultimately helps in not having those thoughts externally. Then, after that, again, another point that's related with these is the right speech. Now, of course, with the right motivation, with the right intention, our speech is also very important. Because according to Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist psychology, we understand that our being, our existence, our human body comprises of not just the body, not just the external body. There are three parts to it. We have the body, we have the speech, and we have the mind. These all three are linked together: body, speech, and mind. So even if bodily speaking, we can be very calm, serene, have a very gentle, relaxed posture, or we are smiling. But what about our speech? If our speech is not in accordance, then it's not complete. We might be projecting something onto others, right? That I'm I'm smiling, I'm always smiling, but deep inside of me, if I'm not truly happy, that's just a fake smile, right? Or if my words, what I speak, is not corresponding to my outer physical behavior, then that's also incomplete. And ultimately, it's all linked to our mind, yet again. So through the mind, first that intention has to come, the right intention has to come. And then through the speech, we say the right type of words. But now, when I say right words, it means often that how we can say something that does not hurt someone, you know, gossiping, slandering, abusing people, impolite words, basically all types of malicious speech that we can do, right? Which definitely will harm people. There is no other way. If we use such speech, there's only one outcome, that we hurt someone else, we hurt their feelings, we harm them. So that is wrong speech. So the opposite of wrong speech will be how we can be polite, how we can be benevolent, how we can have gratitude, first of all. If we have gratitude, if we cultivate gratitude for our existence, for who we are, if we have gratitude for what we have in our life, then naturally we will be more benevolent and not malevolent. So in Buddhist teaching, especially in accordance with the Noble Eightfold Path, silence has been emphasized upon. That if we cannot say something that's useful, staying silent is better. It's called the noble silence. In fact, the Buddha himself demonstrated the noble silence on many occasions whenever he was asked certain questions, or certain people wanted to disturb him. He just kept silent. We can also learn a lot from this example, especially in our modern world. Another example can apply that we're always wanting to say a lot, we're always wanting to express something, but what if sometimes we just remain silent? Now, I'm not saying that when we see moments of injustice, or if we see someone suffering or an abuse perpetuating, we just remain silent. I'm not saying that. I mean that in situations wherein we have really nothing important or useful to offer, and we feel that I'm not able to control my rage. Maybe this conversation is making me too heated. It's making me too angry. It's making me too upset. So instead of really engaging in that conversation in the heat of the moment, it's best to observe what is called a noble silence. That you stay silent. You remove yourself from that situation at that point. Let that heat to settle, just like the calm abiding meditation. Settle into the natural state of your mind. And then when you feel you're back in the center, and if you really have something valuable to share, if you have a really valuable opinion that will not cause disharmony, then you can share that. That is the right speech. Now, this is something we can really try to step by step, gradually incorporate in our daily lives too. How every morning when we wake up, first we have gratitude towards our existence. We have gratitude for what we have in our life, our family, our spouse, our girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, whatever little things we have in our life. If we start having appreciation for that, then we can see how our life transforms and how we can have this innate sense of happiness. And then naturally, when we go out from our homes, if we're going to our workplace, how we can just be kind to others, how we can be kind towards our co-workers, how we can just ask how they're doing. How was their day? Is everything going well in their lives? And just to give them a shoulder if they indeed are going through some difficulties. How we can be benevolent, how we can be compassionate, especially towards those who are immediately around us. That is important, because if we think that we want to generate compassion towards humanity as such, but we are failing to be compassionate towards people who are closest to us, then it's mistaken compassion, because charity always starts at home. So we have to first start. It's not even small, it's an important step, but we have to start with our immediate surroundings. We have to start with ourselves first, trying to transform those thoughts of self hatred, transforming self hatred into love towards oneself, and generating gratitude, generating compassion towards oneself, and then gradually emanating that outwards towards our immediate family members, to our friends, to our co workers, and then gradually extending that even towards strangers, even towards people we don't know. So every act of kindness, every act of compassion to our body, speech, and mind, this will create immense happiness. This will create immense wisdom. And this, in my opinion, and also as we can see, um, when it's applied correctly, this is also a great foundation for creating a better society. We are not happy in our society because we are too fixated towards ourselves. We are too much enmeshed in our own affairs. We are only concerned about how I can make me happy, how I can make me rich, how I can get me the most amazing things, and how others shouldn't get that. No, but that is a cause of suffering as well. So then the right speech involves not just the speech, but the intention. So once again, you can see how just the speech itself is linked to firstly the right view, the right understanding, and then the right intention, and is linked to the right speech too. Because if there is no right understanding, there will be no right intention, and there will never be the right speech. After that, speech is also connected with action. Of course, that, as I said, the body, speech, and mind have to be all connected with each other. So right actions are connected with creating a honorable, a more ethical, peaceful way of life. Like how we can stop from destroying life, how we can stop ourselves and others, if possible, from harming others, from stealing, from unnecessarily lying to create discord between people, from being dishonest, or from creating all sorts of illegitimate activities to our body, and how we can instead try to create a more peaceful state of mind for ourselves, peaceful state of body for ourselves, peaceful state of speech for ourselves, and for others as well. Then after that, the next point is the right livelihood. Now, this point is mainly connected with people who have taken refuge, meaning that people who are already Buddhist practitioners. So there are certain types of livelihoods that Buddhist practitioners cannot have. For example, Buddhist practitioners cannot be butchers, or they cannot be into the alcohol industry, like these kind of activities. But of course, these are limited to Buddhist practitioners. But of course, you can also see right livelihood to how it connects with you as individuals. Is your livelihood causing harm to someone? Is your livelihood creating issues for others? So then we can analyze that ourselves. But this particular point connects more with Buddhist practitioners, that we cannot involve ourselves in professions where we are physically harming others, like butchers, or creating alcohol, or especially making weapons and things like that. So these are absolutely not allowed in the Buddhist practice. So these are some of the main points that I wanted to talk about today, and just to have like a basic overview of what the general foundation of Buddhist practice talks about. And now there are other points as well which connect with the mental discipline, which is the right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So these are more connected with the ultimate meditation aspects of the path, which I would like to elaborate more on a different teaching, on teaching number 2. But for now, we can just focus more on the external teachings. Firstly, understanding the unhappiness, the impermanence aspect of our life, of our experiences, which lead us to dissatisfaction. which lead us to suffering. What are the causes of the suffering? How these causes are ultimately linked to our mind, to our disturbed emotions, and that there is a way to stop this. And the way of stopping this is the application of the Noble Eightfold Path. And then in the next teaching, I will elaborate more on the mental concentration. I already gave a glimpse of that through the meditation practice and how we can incorporate these teachings by meditating, but I will give more elaboration on a different class. So right now, if there are any questions, Alina, from the group, if anybody has any questions, I think we can take them. What do you think?
I love questions. If somebody really have them, I recommend you to use the time, not to be shy, not to think that the question will be wrong. Maybe just something inside you you want to hear. So really welcome, guys.
So we can also take maybe like a couple of minutes break if somebody wants to use the washroom or something, and then we can come back and resume.
Yes, okay. So we do like 2-3 minutes. You can turn off the video, you can think about, and when we return back, you can ask or share what you feel. Maybe somebody wants to share their feelings or how they feel. Maybe Yurata, you want to say something maybe on the Lithuanian, because not everyone understands the English. In this case, we'll make the pause. I will stop recording and we'll return back in 5 minutes.
Think that they're real. We want them to be real. We want them to stay long and long and long, and they want to replicate that. And we think that is giving us happiness. Maybe it's fleeting. I already gave the example of drinking the tea, that, if I'm enjoying a particular cup of tea, I can drink it as much as I want, but there will come a point where even that tea will give me dissatisfaction, that I will have had enough of that, right? So once again, we can use this example that even the things that we seemingly like, if we even overdose on that, that happiness transforms into suffering or dissatisfaction. Your favorite foods, your favorite activities, or whatever, if you overdo that, thinking that this is the only thing that can give me happiness, if you just cling on to that, you will reach a boiling point, one point or the other, definitely. So, truly, true happiness, according to the Buddhist understanding, will be to not even let go, but to be free from the chains of these foundations, to be free from these afflicted emotions. That the afflicted emotions, they may arise, they may arise, but we recognize it. And then we stay in our own nature, which is where the breathing exercise that I very briefly demonstrated can work. That if, of course, if it's possible to just sit, this is a very powerful, very simple but powerful way of cultivating mindfulness, which can lead to happiness. And when we just observe our natural breathing, we feel the sensations, we feel what is truly happening inside of us. Our great masters always say that we need to really recognize the stuff that we're working with. Instead of suppressing it, we need to really see what's going on beneath the surface. And the more we observe, the more we transmute, you will see that you're getting free of those chains. You're getting free of those foundations that we ourselves make. Nobody else is trapping us, right? And then once they cease, you will feel this true state of bliss, true state of happiness, which is like not bound by something external. You're not clinging onto an external object that's creating it. You are really getting this joy from within. And it's so powerful. It's so intense. Then naturally, you want to give it to others. You want to radiate this boundless love to others. So, this is the core teaching of the Buddha.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. we have anyone else or conclude?
Just return back Irina. She was out. I will ask in Russian. Ира, вдруг у тебя есть желание задать вопрос? У нас сейчас как раз последняя часть нашего эфира — это вопросы. И если есть что-то, что просто хочется спросить или поблагодарить, если нет, то тоже абсолютно up to you. She's writing in the chat that she is thankful she missed the part because of the other classes, but she's thankful. Yes, you know, there is also one thing that I was even I noted in my diary, that charity starts at home. Because Namai, if translated the play of the words in Russian, it means that it means the place inside home. So it's like kind of the home and the feeling inside the home that you have. I will just turn off the Irina sound, yes, and return back. So when you were telling these words, it's something that we have our philosophy inside our space that we created with the Yurata, that it's not about the charity that people used to think about the charity. More often people are even not understanding the real charity. They think that they could pay for something, like, I don't know how to name it in English, but once again, to give the responsibility of their life, like making this charity for children, for people who need. It's another type of the way of living. I think something that we're talking about what we're talking about today, it was about that start first of all from yourself, and afterwards each person that you have in your life, starting from your family, your friends, your colleagues, your partners, the foreigners that you meet, you will already have the knowledge and the information, at least to share with them in the moment when somebody will feel suffering, when somebody will feel that they doesn't know the way from how to turn to their real life, how to return back to themselves, how to, I just want to change like this. So what we're doing even in our space, why we're talking today, why we make these sessions, why we are all together in this type of the way, or we will transfer it to the YouTube to the people. It's just the way that we have to return back to the life when we are talking, when we don't afraid to talk, when we don't afraid to share, when we don't afraid of our own feelings, of our own emotions. If we are talking about the science, which is absolutely transparent, that the emotion, it's important. The human has 5 main deep feelings. This is the separate part. And each feelings, like the fear, it has a lot of emotions inside, like reactions. And the emotion lives inside the human body just from 12 until 15 minutes. So if you feel the emotion in the moment, like the anger at work or to the partner, that maybe he's not the reason, as we already hear, like, which is the way in the Buddhism, how we feel the cause and the feeling. But you have to just to know this information. Just give yourself 15 minutes. Just go out, just take yourself, like, at least shout in your mouth and not doing the actions you even don't want to do, because this is just the hormones inside you that are giving these reactions. There is a huge causes that cause your emotion. But once again, just knowing the information that if you wait or if you go out for 15 minutes, you will already be calmed down, you will just walk, you will just breathe, and your thoughts will be absolutely different. Your reaction will be absolutely different. So people for today's life, they always also have this type of the moment when, unfortunately, they are already not controlling themselves at all in the good way, because the main problem for now, for the whole world, I think, and the humanity is controlling the life, which is absolutely illusion, that you cannot control nothing. You can just walk and the tree could fall. You can just live as me in my country and one day something will gonna happen. You cannot control nothing. This is absolute illusion that every human has, that I will control the questions in my work, I will control my house questions, I will control my relationships, I will control my feelings, I will control my fears, I will control my anger. In this way, the only thing that you are doing, controlling or trying to control feelings inside you, you are damaging your body. This is your mental and physical health. This is the important things. If you don't know, our people who will be watching this, if you don't know what to do, I just want to have a short recommendation that first of all, to remember that your hormones and your emotions, we're talking about the emotions, not the deep feelings that you have, a kind which are more deep, which have the reason, and it's another type of the work with it. If you have just the emotion, just remember that there is the 15 minutes, and if you go out, if you just turn yourself to put music, to go outside, just to walk through your house, just to go to another room if it's a question of your partnership, or just to go to another place if it's a question to your office or work or something like this. Give yourself 15 minutes. If you know about the practices, the breathing, just to breathe, return you back. If you are kind of the nervous, or I don't know how to name it in English, the panic attack, if I'm maybe the correct, if you are this type of the person, the panic attack is already the result of the very deep period of the time when you were getting stressed. So it's already a time that you were long-term time that you are feeling or fear or stress, and you are doing nothing with this. So this becomes a kind of the very narrative question in your life. So each trigger, each small thing that could be attend to your question could give this reaction. The main thing that we recommend as the specialists for the people who for now suffer from the panic attack or some kind of these types of the nervous feelings, except the breathing. There is the breathing by the square. It's very easy practice. Like when we breathe by the square, you just imagine the square and 4 points. Like you breathe for 1, then you just stop your breathing, then you breathe out, etc. So you return back. The second type of the help that you can give yourself, it's at least start to touch yourself. First of all, to touch your body, that I'm here, like I'm not in my illusion, I'm not in my emotional, nervous situation that I'm facing right now. You have to at least try to return you back. If you are already like in the situation that you cannot touch yourself, if you cannot breathe, at least you have to concentrate on something that your eyes are seeing. For example, the flowers are red, the flowers are this type of the shape. You have to return back your mind to the reality, to the normal viewing of the thing that you are having. And the last recommendation that I have always to the student, to the people in my coaching personal, we're all having the feelings. It's just the question of the knowledge, what we're doing with them. Do we have the tools to transformate them to the situation like this? Because first of all, the idea that everything is permanent should help you in your life. Everything is permanent. If you are not choosing to suffer long time, you just in one or 2 hours, in 1 or 2 days, you will return yourself back to your normal situation. But if you are already having the feelings that are hard for you, I always recommend we're not leaving them in your body. Never. We're not leaving them inside when you're not sharing. It's a question of your own ecology to the world. You are not giving the responsibility of your bad feelings to the people surround you. You have to notice that this is my anger now. I don't know what to do. This is my fear now. what we are doing. There is two types which are very easy. We are all social, we all have phones. Doesn't matter which type of the phones. In each phone, there is the dictaphone. It's the same in English, the audio, recorder, right? In each phone, there is the recorder, at least. If you want, there is always the video cam. It's also the very good practice from the just from the science, from the psychology. Either you put the phone with the video, which helps you a lot, because after you can see also yourself in the normal situation, and you can first of all try to observe what I was talking about, which were they my feelings, or it was just the reaction of the daily situation, etc. You will see yourself and your emotions differently from the moment when you were feeling that this is a kind of the disaster or the problem or something like this. So the minimum thing is just to record. You turn on your recorder and you just talking all you feel. Like now I face, you're not controlling what you are talking. This is the main idea. You just record to yourself. There is no one else. You can go to the private room. You can just turn on the AirPods or something and doing it like in every situation of your life, in work, at home, in the bathroom, in your car, in everywhere. And you record everything that you feel. For example, for now, I feel a huge fear. Like I'm fearing, I don't know, that I will be hired, or maybe my idea, my proposal about my realization for now in this project will not work. Everything which is destructive, we take out from our body to something else. In this case, something else means your recorder. So in this case, you're not leaving yourself and your body and your all the energetic field that you are having with this with these destructive feelings that in any case are going to live there, because you will not notice, but if you have them as a kind of even the thought and you are not transferring it, they will be able to go out from you in the different kind of the situation that you will not even notice. It will be unconsciously. For example, the next day, it will be a kind of the situation in work that you will be reacting even more aggressive than you usually did, but you will not even understand why, because this is just the normal situation. Or for example, you return back home and your, I don't know, husband, wife, or kid made just something, he didn't wash the cup or something like this, and you will be just shouting. You will not even understand why. You will think that you are not okay with what someone did, but this is not the reason. If you were having to observe in this practice that the Padma was giving us in the beginning, just to sit and observe which was the real reason from the beginning of my reaction right now, of my emotion right now, where is this the beginning dot? And just see it, at least see that no one else is the matter, not the kid, not the husband, not the colleague, not the boss, no one else. It was me who in that moment, for example, feel the fear or feel the sadness or feel the anger or feel even the jealous, for example, for something. I'm always telling, and I will take also a few minutes to tell, that in the type of the practice that I'm in my philosophy that I'm transferring to the people, but I'm also telling that honestly, because I'm really attracted to the quantum physics. I'm really attracted to the our energetic and all the biofields of the people and the earth and everything. There is one important thing, that every emotion, the deep feelings, we need to survive. So each of these feelings, like the fear, like the sadness, like the jealousness, we all need. This is not the mistake. This is not something which is wrong. This is something that you just do not understand the real reason. For example, if the human body or the human themselves would not have the feeling as a fear, then I would take this candle, I would put my hand inside the fire and burn my hand. I don't have the fear. The fear helps us Then it's a kind of the different type when we have the programs, like when we have a fear to something that will not harm us in the physical life. This is also the human, how to say, not right the being. We are imagine that something will harm us in the physical way, but it's the harm that will cause us mental way. For example, I fear to be honest to my second part. I fear to tell the truth to my boss that I don't want this type of the conditions I work. There is the fear of the mental emotion that I would feel after. So we as a human sometimes change mind positions, like not understanding that the fear as like the real feeling we need to have. It's help us to live. The jealous, I adore jealous. In my mentoring, in my coaching, I always show people that the jealous, when we jealous, it's the feeling or reaction that gives all of us, like listen now very, very carefully, that gives us understanding in life, the direction, what I want. You were telling the option, for example, when one woman was seeing another beautiful woman. Why this woman for you is beautiful? It's about the beauty of the skin. It's about the, I don't know, the hair. It's about the style. It's about the energy. It's about the sexuality. It's about of the kindness. What is the purpose that I'm jealous for, even as an emotion? In this case, you will find the reason what I want. Like, for example, oh God, I am working so much. I'm not thinking about myself. I'm women. This is my energy. I'm not feeling good with it. I'm not feeling good with this body, with myself. I want to go and to treat myself. I want to make something for myself. This is the purpose for you to understand what do I want. This is also in our coaching, the purpose to understand what you are not allowed into yourself. For example, if you see and you're telling that this woman, she's very sexual, I don't know, she's very intense in her energy. It means I want to be the same. I want to feel myself the same, because what is the feminine energy? This is something which will be very deep. It will be or in our sacral trips or in our closed course for you, yes, where Padma could, as a tantric, could give a lot more, because I'm also interested in this kind of the direction. But the feminine energy, it's the powerful energy when the woman feels like her real nature, that I am like I am. And I really feel in love with myself, with what I'm doing. That means the sexuality. It's not about something that we are as a human make wrong. It's not about the short skirts. It's not about the some other types of the people way of the behaving. This is about your energy, how you feel. And sometimes people, or if we have this sample, women's are jealous, not for the view of these women. They sometimes jealous how much she is open, how much she loves herself, how much she effort to herself, why she's, I want the same. I want to be so free in all my communication. I want to feel free to dress how I want. I want to feel free to look how I want. So when we feel the jealous, guys, I want you to remember for all your life, this is the light to show you what you want. And doesn't matter if it will be the material desire, like he has the car, I want the car. Good, it's good. Just realize I have a desire. It doesn't matter which one. I have a desire. What means desire? Desire means I have the energy and potential inside myself to get this. But the second question, as Padma was telling, and I see this really huge connection with the Buddhism and with this path. The second question, will I act? Will I do something towards this? Or I will just be inside with my dreams, with my desire, with my energy, but I will not act. I will not do nothing. I will just sit and suffer that I don't have something, the beauty, the life that I want, something. It doesn't matter what makes you happy, as you were asking, Dimitri, really, it was such amazing question because, and Padma, thank you so much that you were describing it, because this is something that for now is my philosophy of life. I understood that the happiness, it's in one moment nothing, and in the same moment it's all. But it's the happiness to be, it's the happiness now to talk or to sit or to do after what we were all doing after or tomorrow. It's the question of my choice, how I feel to what I really attract in this moment. If I like this tea, I enjoy this tea, this is happiness for me. If I like this sunrise, this is the happiness for me. If I like this person, I want to hug this person, this is the happiness for me. The happiness, it's so simple. It's not in the material world. It's not about something global. But once again, if your soul wants the global things, if you have the potential, because we're all having the potential and we're afraid of our potential. That's why we're making a lot of programs inside ourselves that I'm not enough, I don't know enough, what I will talk about, what I will share to the people. No, guys, if we will think in this way, we will still have creating the same that we're all seeing for now. If we start to talk at least about what we love, to share it, to share what we are doing, it's something that we are doing today. This, in any case, it will not change the world in the global human way, but it will change your personal world. And as we were starting the beginning, yes, your home. Who is your home? The people who are surround you. So thank you so much for this evening. If you have also something to tell, just tell us, and I will be really welcome next week to join us on the same session. Padma, your words. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that very profound and very enriching reflection. And I always love engaging in such harmonious conversations wherein all aspects of life, all aspects of our being should be investigated and should be analyzed, and how we can always create this sense of harmony inside of ourselves and others. So I really appreciated everything you mentioned. And at the moment, I don't have anything special to add to it. I was so very happy that you offered breathing exercises, because indeed, from the ancient times, whether it's Buddhism or other aspects of the teachings that came from ancient India in this region, breathing has always been emphasized upon, that the breath is basically your life force. So, indeed, your suggestions are very important. And this is also like our breathing itself, focusing on the breath creates this sense of mindfulness, and this sense of mindfulness can also lead to happiness. Happiness in the sense that happiness that is free from constructs, happiness that's free from this conceptual thinking that I need this object to be happy, or I need this particular reality or this particular experience to be happy. But how can we unlock that is within ourselves? So, as simple as it may sound, but even in the fundamental teachings of the Buddha, when we talk about the mindfulness, it is indeed all about the breath. How we observe our natural state of breathing, how we learn to properly inhale, to properly exhale, how we rest on that breath. And there are many techniques which I hope we can practice together in the near future, and I will elaborate them then. But ultimately, I agree with everything Elena is saying, and also working with the feelings and the emotions. All of that was very profound. So thank you so much for this very powerful exchange. I was deeply honored to be here today on this amazing platform with such amazing individuals, and even I got to learn a lot. So this is a very important process for me too. That as teachers, it's always important to have a very broad mind, that we can receive more from others, learn more about them. And this is the key to expand. I don't like to use the word grow, because, in a way, it's kind of materialistic that you're growing for yourself, but expansion is like how you can really be like vast as the sky, how you can, carry everyone and every potential inside of you. So thank you so much to you and to all participants. I really appreciate it.
Thank you all. We will give the information. If somebody wants just to thank to the master, we will just share where we can do it and meet you next week. Thank you so much.
See you next week. Stay safe. Take care.
Bye.
And bye for now.